Hello, friends, and welcome to another video lesson from Nevia Stocks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is in the playlist called Serious Fun with SQL, and here we'll learn about the different usages of the count function in SQL. Okay, there's an aggregate function called count, and there are others which are like the minimum, maximum, average. But here we'll be talking about the count, which is quite one of the most frequently used functions in SQL. Okay. Let's look just how we can use it at a very basic level. Okay, so you will see this select statement, which is very familiar looking if we are already using SQL at your workplace. Select count asterisk from geocodes. Now the asterisk inside is referring to all the columns of the table. Okay, so this is without any where condition. We will just execute this as it is. So it will return to you a number, which is the count of rows of that table. And if you happen to have a work condition in this SQL statement, then that will be the number of rows being returned by your select statement, including in consideration of the work condition that you have added. Okay, there's a variation of using this SQL statement, which is you can replace the asterisk with the number 1, and the community is generally divided on this one, and there's opinion that the count 1 is of a slightly better performance compared to the count asterisk, but it is really up to you. You can Google that, but that's for another conversation, for another video. Right now, just be content knowing that you can interchangeably use the count asterisk and or a count 1, okay? So that for simplicity, I'll just stick to the count asterisk so you won't get confused. Okay, so select count asterisk from geocodes. It gives you or returns to you the row count or the number of rows in the table being queried, which is in this case is geocodes table. Okay, so now what if we add a where condition to this select statement? Then we can add that, no problem. Select count asterisk from geocodes where continent code equals AM, which is a string, and then execute that. It will give me a number. Now you notice that, of course, without the where condition, it should be returning more records. Okay, let's see, it's giving me 70 rows or records. Whereas if I add the where condition, which is for filtering, then the expectation is that the possibility is that it could either be equal to or less than the earlier count. Okay, so earlier we had 70, but with this where condition, I'm only getting 5 rows, which are meeting the where condition I have added, which is where continent code equals AM. Okay, now let's do a count of a column. Okay, instead of doing a count asterisk or a count 1, inside the parentheses, I'll be replacing that with a column name, in this case, country code. So select count of country code from geocodes. I can remove the where condition just for simplicity, and you can see that it returns to me 48 rows. Remember that earlier when we did a count of the table, just a count asterisk like this one, it gave me what? 70 rows or records, right? I'll put that in here so you can take note. Whereas here, when I do a select count of a specific country, column, which is country code in this case, it gives me how many? It gives me 48 records. So it's a bit, for somebody who is just trying to learn SQL right now, at this point, it will seem odd because I am doing a query on the same or from the same table, geocodes in this case. And not only that, I am not giving any kind of where condition or any kind of filtering in either of these two select statements. And yet, they are giving me totally different row counts. The first one is giving me 70, while the second one is giving me 48 rows or records. The only glaring difference between these two is that in the first instance, I'm doing a count asterisk, whereas in the second one, I'm doing a count of a column name, which is country code. Okay, so now let's have a look at the contents of this table actually. Okay, so let's take a look at the contents of this table. Select, you can do this, you remove the count, you just do a select asterisk of the table. Okay, okay, so let's take a look, and then if you get a good look at this table, you will notice that If we zoom in on the column called country code, which is this one, if you scroll down, you notice that some of the records actually have null value, null meaning blank or no value for the country code column. Okay, so in fact, that is the reason why we have this difference in the count. When we do a count asterisk, which is everything, all columns of this table geocodes, we get 70. Whereas when we did a count of country code, select count country code from the same table without any word condition, then we were only getting 48 records. Okay, this diff between the 70 here and a 48 here. And the reason for that is that if you look at the values of country code column, which is right in here, you see that some of them actually have null. Null meaning no value or nothing, right? Now let's just prove it another way. I'll do a count to prove this. Okay, let's do some simple mathematics. Look at this. Give me a second. Okay, this. Now, if you look at the number of rows that we have done, we did the select count asterisk of geocodes. It gave me 70, right? So here I say number of rows, total number of rows is 70. Now, the number of rows wherein there is a null value for country code, I get, okay, I will run that select statement. Let's put it in here. Select count asterisk from geocodes where country code is now. So what I'm trying to do here is to do a row count, a count of rows from geocodes table, wherein the country code column has no value or null value. Okay, I'll just execute this and it will give me what? 22 rows, right? Now, like I said, I'll just do some simple mathematics to prove my point that the nullness, if you will, of the values of country code is the reason for the count difference between the two scenarios I've earlier shown you. Okay, so select count from blah, blah, blah. The country code is now, so there are 22 rows in this table wherein the country code is null or blank. Okay, let's do the maths. Number of rows total is 70, everything. But the number of rows in this table where country code is null is 22. Now, if you do a simple subtraction, 70 minus 22, that gives you 48. And that 48 happens to be, it's not a coincidence, the result when we do a count of the country code, okay? Remember here, when we did a count of the country code, select count, country code from geocodes, it gives you 48 records, okay? Again, the number of rows total is 70, but those with null country code is 22, and 70 minus 22 is 48, okay? So again, there is an effect when you do a count. It's a difference between doing a count of asterisk or count one and doing a count of a specific column name. When you do a count of a specific column name, Oracle or SQL itself, the engine will take a look at the values. It will count the values of non-null values of that column, okay? So this means that 48 means there are, out of the 70 rows in this table, 48 rows have a value for country code. That's the meaning of that. Select count country code from geocodes, okay? I hope you get that right. Select count asterisk will just count the number of rows, but the select count of a column name will count the rows wherein that value, that column has a value or not none, okay? So I hope it's quite clear. I don't know, but I hope. So in this video, we have seen a few scenarios of using the count function, which is an aggregate function in SQL, but very useful, very frequently used. And you've seen that in certain scenarios, you could have a different result of a row count. Definitely when you do a select count asterisk, it is counting the number of rows of the table, regardless, especially if you don't have a word condition. But when you do a count of a column name, then it is counting the rows which have non-null values for that column, okay? So thank you for watching and listening. If you haven't subscribed, please click subscribe and click the bell. I'll be seeing you in the next video.